Today, me and my friend will be surviving 100 days in OG Minecraft. In this version, there is no sprinting, no hunger, and a whole lot of other things that we will discover during these 100 days. So here is surviving 100 days in OG Minecraft as a duo. On day 1, we mined some trees and then got our tools. We decided to make a makeshift base, and because there's no wool, I dug down and he dug up to start our base. After some wood placement, I checked out his upstairs section where it became day. On day 2, we finally could make a bed, which it actually didn't work, but then it did. Day 3 was the day we're going to check out something near our base, which was actually a spawner. We blocked the water, then realized there was about 50 skeletons under the spawner, meaning it was a skeleton spawner. We lit it up, mined the sand, and tried to find both chests. During this time, we found our first iron as well, which was very good. After mining the sand, we got a second chest, and we were ready to open our mystery boxes. We get one each. So I counted down, and I got some good items, including a saddle, which is quite rare in this version. So the last thing we did was grab the mossy cobblestone, as it's also a rare block in this version. And I slept in the sleep chamber, which I'll update you anytime we change the sleep chamber. Day 4, I added a chest of goods, which was glitched in the corner, but I figured it out eventually. I'm not gonna lie, as I'm looking at the footage, I kind of forgot that I put the mossy cobblestone in there, but I believe Ewan uses it later, so just you wait. We had enough leather for pants, which was great, because I had to look at Ewan without pants for 4 days. Okay, now something funny with the armor is, for whatever reason, it displays its durability where the hunger usually goes. Something I loved about this world, though, is we'd often do something together, then have our own solo projects, and check each other's out when we're done. My project now is to do a storage room, so I started digging out the room, and I replaced the floor with cobblestone. On day 5, I needed to go to the bathroom in real life, so I put the camera on Ewan, and he started doing this.
Ding, 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 dong. Ding, 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 dong.
Thank you for those amazing vocals, Ewan. Anyway, after he had built a little balcony, I crafted some signs, and then I realized signs are so expensive. Like, it's the most expensive things of all time. You literally get one sign out of all of these 6 wood. I placed it down with the name storage on one and room on the other one. At this point in the world, I tried to think of a cool pattern to make the storage room, so I looked around while replanting trees, and I thought maybe I could use some birch logs. Something I didn't say before was, look how it turns night. It just like flashes different levels of light and slowly gets darker. Like, it doesn't fade, it just boom, 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 you know? And at the end of the day, I said hello to Ewan up from the balcony. Also, if you do enjoy this video, please do subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers, and it would absolutely mean the world to me. On day 6, I was looking around some more, then I found some wolves. I saw one in the water, and it was a bit goofy, but bro, the creeper was there. I was so scared of it, but I decided to fight it. It kind of failed, but the creeper was gone now, so I guess that was a success. I was hoping this wolf would swim out of the water, just in case I tamed it so it would drown or something, but luckily it didn't do that. And I tried a few bones on it, and then I tamed it on the 3rd one. Ewan came over to tame his dog, and we came up with our names. My dog was named Average, and his dog was named Mid. I don't know why we named them this, but it was kind of funny just saying the dog, yo, you're average, or yo, you're mid. I brought Average up to the sleep chamber, and boom, he was safe and sound. At this point, I realized the reason I went over there was to get more birch logs, but luckily, Ewan got me some, and was very kind of him. Just in case, I cut down some more trees in order to get enough wood for the storage room wall, which was what I was using the birch for, obviously. I unalived some of the cows in hopes of getting some more leather for the full leather armor. While I chopped some trees, I got some birch saplings, and something extremely good about this version is it drops so many saplings. Like, even just from one tree, I got heaps of birch saplings. I continue mining out the storage room so I could get the pattern on the wall with cobblestone in the background. And while I was doing this, Ewan kept talking about how there was a chicken outside and it kept making hurt noises. Now I was like, what? I think it was getting hurt or something? No, it's actually the sound it made when it laid an egg. Anyway, I wanted to make the pattern with something like stairs or slabs, but I just couldn't figure it out yet, to be honest with you. As I went to bed, I saw Average's dog was standing up, but it was just a visual glitch in this version when you push them into a block. I placed the cobblestone under the door, and then for some reason, Ewan said that doors disappear if you break the block under it, even though I just did it. Like, come on. So on day 7, we tried it again, but the door did this weird thing, and I wished I tried breaking the door because I wonder if an infinite door glitch was possible. I continued replacing the walls with cobblestone, and then I extended the room so the birch blocks would have 2 blocks in between, perfect for a chest. I went up to the balcony, and as you can see, the torches give such little light because look at this random pillar that Ewan had built. On day 8, we continued our goofy leather armor construction by making some boots each, so we were half suited up already. I replaced some of the scaffolding I did with birch, so then I could finally start placing the chest in between. I tried placing some stairs, but I decided to remove them and test different things. By the way, look how long it takes me to mine the stairs with an axe. I believe a pickaxe is faster too. I placed torches on every pillar, then I dug out every slot to get the chest ready. If you look on the floor, I accidentally left stone there, and that was a mistake. Like, I was gonna place stairs or slabs, but Ewan said it looked good, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I'll leave it there. Talking about Ewan, he helped me put cobble on the walls, and I tested a pressure plate with the door, but it was too glitchy, so I decided just to leave it. Like, no pressure plate is needed. I placed slabs on top of the stairs. Once again, I realized the stairs just don't look good, so I finally settled on my final design, putting the slabs up top and then placing the chest. I was honestly very happy with my design. Like, the chests were able to be opened, but because of the slabs, it looked like it was dark and a block possibly was on top of the chest. On day 9, I complained about the zombie noises near our base again because there was just so many zombies, but then I mined some trees instead of actually dealing with it because that's just what I do. I finished placing the chest with the wood I just got, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very happy with how it turned out. We tried to capture the chicken from a few days ago that laid an eggs, and it it was a wild goose chase. Like, the chicken kept running, bro. It was so funny, but also so annoying. I eventually got it in a hole, and I think he stayed there to the end of time, to be honest. A problem I realized with the chest was that because it was too wide, I'd have to place 2 signs so it didn't look really unsatisfying. For example, the cobblestone chest, I named it Cobble and Stuff, which was on 2 different signs, and I later changed it to Cobble and Stone because I thought that was funny. Another thing we did was dug it out slightly so Ewan could make another room through the storage room. I actually don't really do storage on any of my servers, but I'm very happy I was tasked with it because it was generally fun to do and it was extremely useful to have everything set in different chests. I looked upon the sunset of this day and it sort of hit me that this was going to be a very enjoyable 100 Minecraft days, and I couldn't wait to get started. Ewan showed me what he was doing, and it's the treasure room, and he placed a brown wool, which is very rare because there's no jungles. On day 10, we hit double digits. Oh yeah! So to celebrate, we decided to make a little day 10 sign. We placed torches as well and then got back to what we were doing. I continued moving items into the storage, including our valuables chest where there was just coal for now. We were actually struggling to think of what to put as a final chest, but we ended up deciding on agriculture, culture, and misc and random. We went to bed, and at this point we decided to take it in turns to decide who closes the doors when we sleep. Day 11 was the day we were going to finally start mining and get some resources, but first I placed some crafting tables in the room, then I crafted furnaces until I realized Ewan placed them first. However, I did get an achievement which made me realize there are achievements in this version. I mined the other furnaces so we could bring the mining with us as well as the coal from the chest. And just like that, we headed off in order to start our mining journey. Actually, first we destroyed a creeper and then we started our mining journey. We found some caves and instantly found some iron and coal, which we mined immediately. Ewan's strategy was lighting up the caves nearby and then going into mine, so that was actually my strategy. I was just waiting for him to light it all and then I would mine it all and get it off myself. I mean, what? Sorry, no, I didn't say that. Side note, coal takes forever to mine in every version of Minecraft. Why does it have to take 50 years just to mine one single vein? Like, why is there so much coal? We actually found quite a lot in this cave. Like, there was a place leading down, which was very exciting to see, and it included lava, which looks like baked beans in this version, in my opinion. We also thought of the fact that the nether is in this version, but I had no clue what it even looked like. We found quite a bit of iron in this mining session, which was great, but as I was traveling, there it was. Diamond! Oh, yeah! It was only one, which is incredibly upsetting, but we got it nonetheless. There was also redstone, which I decided I may as well mine because personally, I'm a redstone enjoyer. But bro, look, it took so long to mine this redstone. As we headed out, we mined some more coal, but we didn't mine anymore because we realized we were dumb and didn't bring any food, so we could not heal at all. As we reached the surface, we realized we've spent so long in there that it was already day 12. We headed back to the base and I brutally unalived Ewan so he could have more health and we didn't need to make more food. The only problem was because our beds were so cramped, there was no space to respawn, so he respawned back on the beach. It was satisfying seeing him pick up everything, I'm not gonna lie. We started smelting all our newly found resources, which was going to mean we could finally have some iron armor. Also, our valuables chest was finally looking acceptable on day 12. For some reason, I started unaliving all the sheep instead of using 2 iron and shearing them, but do note that sheep can't regrow wool in this version. I wanted to flex my iron, and because it doesn't stack, just look at all of this on the floor. It just looks so beautiful. Also, I rubbed Ewan out here, so let's go. I temporarily said goodbye to the goofy sausage-looking leather armor, and then I made myself some absolute drip. Look at this duo right here with our armor. Just like that, our whole iron stack had depleted. I'm only half joking because, bro, I have 13 in my inventory, and then I made tools. With the lava I grabbed before, I placed it near our base so it could view the beautiful texture at all times. Ewan gave me a pork chop, which I gotta say, it really looks like a modern day steak. Also, as the sun set, Ewan found a patch of clay in the distance. That's exactly what he wants. On day 13, we decided we may as well quickly go back to the mine to get some more resources as we almost had no iron. When I tell you we found so much iron, we found so much iron. We just kept mining and mining and going and going. It was very fun just being able to chill. We obviously found coal, then we also found some lava with redstone and lapis around it. I ended off this day by simply smelting the iron and preparing myself to continue down the massive cave we found ourselves in. I started day 14 by finding my first pieces of gold and also even mining more iron. We realized we traveled in this cave so much that we found ourselves under the skeleton spawner from before, which we could tell instantly because of the leftover mossy cobblestone. We headed back to finish our few-day mining session, and instantly I was welcomed home by a creeper blowing up right in front of me. The problem in this version for me is when fighting creepers, you can't sprint away and come back, and it makes it extremely difficult to fight creepers. However, this is just the way Ewan likes it. I once again smelted my stuff, and I realized Ewan had a lapis block in the treasure room, where it looks quite cool if I do say so myself. I redistributed the furnaces, and I made this circle furnace on the wall. We wanted to test out a fishing rod, so I had Ewan pull me, but it didn't let us, which was actually extremely sad. It made it worse when he realized it actually taken durability off of his fishing rod, but at this very moment, we decided to do individual projects. Ewan decided to make a minecart track from our base to the beach, and I guarantee you'll never guess what I decided to build. Pause and comment what you think it is right now, but I'll tell you in 3, 2, 1. I'm building a water slide. Bro, what kind of idea is that? I don't even know, but I love water slides in real life. So what better way to make my first solo build than a water slide? I wanted to have a boat going down it with it being made of wood. So I started chopping trees as I need a lot of wood for this build. You already know I put these cows to a permanent end so I can make some more sausage armor later. As I was chopping down these trees, I felt like the dude from the Lorax because I was just chopping down all these trees. But I will have you know I did replace many saplings. When I got to the base, I looked at the walls with the logs and the gravel as well, which I very much liked. I made shears, and Ewan told me that there was a glitch on his old Xbox world where if you unalive a sheep, then as it is dying, you right click its ghost body with shears, it actually gives you more wool. If you don't understand what I'm saying, basically you get more wool from the unalive body as well as shear it at the same time. So in the distance he tried it and it actually worked. It gave him 4 wool. As we woke up on day 15, Ewan proposed to me that we made a wall of rules for the sleeping chamber. Now I don't think we actually did it, but I guess there's no rules in the sleeping chamber now. As I got jump scared by a skeleton at the door, I realized this is the day I wanted to start the water slide from the top of the mountain. The thing I always get in the habit of doing is I never actually build a path to where I need to go, and I said just make something out of like the natural terrain, and it's like it would make no sense to anyone else. On the top of the mountain, I finally saw what was past our base, and I also realized I had the graphing setting on to where the clouds went really flat, which looks sharp to me for whatever reason. I cleared out the area up top by mining the trees, and then I made an infinite water source, which I was very happy was in the game. I started the water slide by placing the wood, and then I realized if I want this to go all the way to the beach and it have loops, bro, I'm going to need a lot of wood, but I was excited for the process. You can see me use water to get down to the next level of each wood, and this was definitely foreshadowing of what was to come. I started building this layer as a 2x2 area, but as I went down, I changed it to 3 to hopefully fit the boat a bit better after the first turn. While I was doing all of this, I was extremely excited to see what Ewan was building, but I couldn't look properly until we were both done. The last thing I did on day 15 was hit this water bucket clutch, which is absolutely insane in this version because it is so glitchy. If anyone has played on it, it is so weird how it works. Okay, I lied. That wasn't the last thing. We found mobs that kept making the noise during the night, and we went to light up the area. Look at how you can't hit them unless they can hit you. It's just simply how it worked back then. Also, zombies don't even drop rotten flesh. They drop feathers because rotten flesh didn't even exist yet. On day 16, my dog started following me, which I think was because of the standing glitch, but it actually thought it was really standing, so I had to quickly move bro back up to the wall where he usually resides. I continued the water slide wood into the side of the mountain where I dug it out, but then I realized I was right near the balcony and I could see the water slide from right there. I mined out some more before continuing my wood path for the water slide. And once again, I decided to water bucket clutch, which is probably the last water bucket clutch I hit this whole series due to how glitchy it was, and this one I needed to hit because the lava was right there, hungry for my items. Day 17, I further built my water slide, and originally I was going to have it go straight down from up here, but I decided to make it one more turn. And after I built some more, I tested out the sheep strategy where I unalived it and then instantly shed it, and it actually worked to my surprise and gave extra wool. The only reason we did this is because they can't regrow wool, like we literally may as well do it. The thing is too, is it gave us at least 4 every single time, which was so good from one sheep. Anyway, I made the water slide go down into a nearby cave, which I had almost the perfect amount of wood before I had to get more. And of course, I waved to Ewan before he had properly started his project. I think these few days he was actually just getting resources, but who really knows with this guy? To finish off the day, I simply mined more wood to get ready for more construction. On day 18, I mined out of the mountain and I had a peak, and I saw it wasn't too close to our base, which was perfect to start going down. I basically spent the rest of this day placing wood down until I realized I'd have to go through some dirt to make it to the ocean. I also realized water only lasts a certain amount of blocks, so I have to go down every few blocks, which in my head may have caused some problems, specifically with the skeleton spawner if we wanted to make something out of it. Day 19, I continued digging out the water slide, making sure the water would be able to make it the whole way. During this time, Ewan said he wanted to gift me a clock, but you actually can't craft it in this version, which was really sad. Anyway, I dug it out until you could see the ocean. My feel was correct though, as the spawner was right there, but it wasn't directly over it, so it was fine. Day 20, I connected the wood directly to the water, digging it a bit more just so it would all fit. This was the first time I actually looked up at it, and honestly, it looked incredibly cool. Like, I just needed water as well as the support beams. I took the water slide from the bottom all the way to the top, and then I placed the water, but I realized I was dumb and it didn't reach. I decided to deal with the top of the slide later and focus on having to go down the rest of the slide, seeing if it would make the whole way. You'll notice I made many infinite water sources, and that's because I was not about to make the treacherous journey back up to the top every single time I needed one water. After placing some of the water, I realized once again it didn't reach far enough, which was so annoying. The other annoying thing was that traversing up water takes so long and is extremely glitchy. I decided that I'll use some signs and be experimental, which took all my wood. At this moment, I saw the water go down the hill, and it literally went everywhere due to one block. And it kept going because it connected to the other water. It went so far that it went to the beach, according to Ewan. Anyway, after some tinkering, I got some of the water working with the help of the signs. Day 21 was basically finishing the water section of the water slide, which included the second time it went into the mountain. As I craft these signs, take note of how there is no birch planks and it's just all wooden planks. After I got the water working, I went down and saw the water made it all the way to the ocean, which was absolutely perfect. Technically, I already reached the ocean when I spilt it, but that was accidental. Finally, I finished the top of the water slide by building below it and extending it to make sure it would make the distance. Water went everywhere again, but luckily this was on the other side of the mountain. I farmed some more wood and then I stuffed up the sheep wool glitch. Anyway, to finish off the day, I tried to water clutch, which unalived me, and the water was actually still there, so it just took all of my items everywhere, and then all the torches were gone. I got most of my stuff, but as we were going to bed, a lighting glitch occurred, which is just the front cover of these 100 days, to be honest with you. Like, things would happen like this all the time. On day 22, I looked for the rest of my items, but first I found the water was doing this weird, silly, goofy thing where it would like go around like this, but it did look quite satisfying, to be honest. Ewan found the rest of my stuff, which was very good because I didn't know how long it would take to despawn. One of the last things I needed to do was make the walls slightly higher so the boat wouldn't fall off the side of the slide. Also, I decided to leave some of the water, so it looks weird, but that makes it unique at least. I also officially finished the water, so I was ready to test it. Let's go! I crafted a boat and slowly made my descent, and then instantly the boat broke, which was actually so sad. I extended it the side to make it 3 wide and used some signs for the last time. On day 23, I was urgently trying to fix the slide some more so the boat wouldn't crash, as on day 25, we would show each other what we had been working on. I went on my boat and tried holding the button to make me go backwards, but it speeds you so far that I was debating making heaps of signs to slow me down, but I didn't know if it would work. Really quickly, I decided to mine some trees for the boats and signs before I almost got absolutely destroyed by a skeleton. I placed a crafting table and furnace here, and I don't know if it was destroyed, but I wanted to try and find this the whole time we played on this world, and I could never find it again. Okay, look, I literally destroyed it right here, and I totally forgot about that. As I made my way back, I realized that this turned into a squid farm, and Ewan came to take a look because he was so shocked at it. On day 24, Ewan was basically done, but we had a race up to the top, and I won. However, I couldn't figure out how to make the boat not crash, and we kept experimenting small things, but they simply weren't working. I even somehow got stuck in a wall. I tested the boat from different spots, and I even tried making the walls a bit higher for some reason. They just kept breaking. I kept placing random water source blocks, but legit nothing was working. At the end of the day, I tried going through the painting that Ewan placed, and of course it works. I'd be more surprised if it didn't. Day 25, whoa! Before testing both our builds, we decided to make a day 25 sign before Ewan used his newly made bow to destroy a creeper, which took 5 whole arrows. We made the day 25 sign slightly bigger, and we'll continue to do that every sign, but this will be the last sign until day 50. We had a day 25 snack to start our journey together before looking at each other's builds. We wanted to try if the sheep glitch would work if both of us shared it, but it didn't work. Like, imagine if we got 10 wool from one sheep, that'd be nuts. We actually got less than usual too, like it was such a scam. I hadn't made support beams for this day, I didn't need them for the race. Ewan tested it and then it didn't work obviously, so we decided to race in the water by swimming and then kept going to the final stretch where we would place a boat. We went around in a turn inside the first cave and then the second one again, and we were on the final stretch separately where Ewan won. It was so fast that we flung towards the island, and I looked at Ewan and realized he had 2 sets of legs, which was so disgusting to look at, and I don't know why. I think it's because it looks so uncanny, like he has one under his boat running and one where it should be. Ewan made a monument on the island where he placed a redstone torch and I placed a yellow torch. We also did this throughout the series where I had yellow flowers and he had the roses. We made our way over to his build and it was so odd looking at him running in the boat. I just can't get over it. By the way, I legit was never able to park my boat. It always broke, so it just didn't work out for me, but Ewan could always do it. Anyway, I checked out Ewan's train station and I liked the little table he made, and off I went. I went all the way down and I got to smell the fresh air from up here. Also, Ewan was running again and it was extremely cursed. Turns felt so weird, but it was genuinely so cool. I pushed back and now we were going back up. Ewan said this was a race, which I personally think is quite fair, but I unfortunately lost. We went to bed and Ewan added a sky to the sleep chamber, which was pretty cool indeed. On day 26, I mined wood so I could use oak logs for the pillars of my water slide to have it fully finished. And I literally spent the whole day just gathering wood, except I added like 2 pillars. Day 27, I added all the pillars around, and this took quite a bit, but luckily I did get it done, which is very wonderful. I noticed the bit where it goes into the cave, it literally just had mobs like a creeper and a cow in this case, and this has just happened multiple times, like occasionally with squids, pigs, or whatever. I also made torches to light up the area, and at this point my cat was on my lap in real life, and it honestly was so relaxing just playing Minecraft with my friend and having my cat there. I just don't know how to describe it. At the end of day 27, I dug from Ewan's train station all the way to the surface so I had an easier way to get there. I decided on ladders, as anything with water is slow, but oh my goodness, ladders are so expensive. Why does it only give you 2? On day 28, we finished our leather armor set solely so it would look cool in chest, and also so we could look random while wearing it for like 10 seconds. I made a bow, and then unfortunately it was time for a mining session where we'd have to grind to get some more materials, but it means we are able to go to the nether soon. We got ourselves some food, which was the main mistake last time, and then the sun set. But we wanted to make use of the whole day, so we just went in another cave at night so the less mobs would spawn in the cave. We mined and found quite a bit of iron, but we didn't really know where to go from there. It was at this moment where I found out something that happens in this version. If you click F3 on your keyboard, all of the menus pop up as usual, but it also shows every nearby mob. Like, look, it shows a number on the screen for whatever reason. This isn't cheats or anything, it's just in the game. So by doing this, we could find caves or dark areas, which made mining so much easier. We found a massive cave and then found some diamonds in the cave as well, which Ewan mined for us. We honestly were just mining coal, iron, and also got a bit of gold and redstone, which once again, I love redstone. redstone, so I'll be doing some fun things with such valuables. It ticked over to day 29 and we kept mining and mining, and in the process we smelted some of our iron so we could have refreshed tools and armor. We further smelted most of our iron, and Ewan placed a torch on the furnace, which sounds easy, but it actually is hard because you just can't do it the way we all know now. The way Ewan did it was he placed it on a slab adjacent to the furnace, and then it auto-placed the torch on the side of the furnace. When trying to find a creeper, I saw this glitched arrow, then somehow I got hit, but it was actually Ewan's arrow. It was so weird. Ewan found even more diamonds. The diamond texture looks so cool, and we mined them up, and then Ewan flexed on me with all his diamonds. Day 30, we were still in the mine, and I found even more diamonds, so I wasn't as jealous anymore. With my diamonds, I crafted a pickaxe where I'd mine 14 obsidian blocks for our nether portal. Well, I can just use 10 even in this version, and we wanted to make it feel like we put a lot of effort in it so we could display that in the nether portal. Day 31, we found more diamonds. Like, bro, this is going crazy. Let's actually go. The problem we had in this cave is we kept getting damaged, so I was on 5 hearts and Ewan was on like 2 max. We mined to the surface, and only during it did we realize that I was healthier, so I mined to the top, which was actually really disorienting. We got to the top and it was really good to finally smell the fresh air of the surface. We found pumpkins for the first time, which is a new block unlocked for us, which is really good because there's such limited blocks. We're about 1,000 blocks away from home, so we slowly made our way back, but on the way, I finally didn't break my boat. Just kidding, you already know I did. We got some food here, so we weren't at constant risk of getting hurt. We were traveling during the night, but Ewan was set on trying to get a music disc, even though we had no food and we were very low on health. Surprisingly, after ages, he actually got it to work, and I was on 2 HP, but guess what? They didn't even drop the music disc, which means they don't drop it in this version, or luck, or something like that. I was so sad. I very narrowly made it home and finally got to eat and rest. On day 32, I extended our furnace wall, and then Ewan made the genius move of creating a jack-o'-lantern, which made our wall look just that much better. I smelted all that we got, and it was honestly very cool seeing how much loot we got from that long mining trip. On this day, Ewan dug through to extend the treasure room, to which I was still yapping about how my crafting table and furnace was over there, but it's kind of funny looking back because it's just not there, and I was still like, yo, it's over there. I won't update you every night, but just so you know, it was my turn tonight to close the doors for our sleeping chamber. At this point, it had slightly changed, but you'll be seeing some more additions to it soon. On day 33, I created ladders to make a room above our sleeping chamber, and the reason I did is so I could finally make a redstone project. My idea was I wanted a button to have the roof of our sleeping chamber change specifically from day and night. For this, I decided to make a maintenance room above, and to be honest, I was just figuring out how I wanted to do it on the fly. In a new version, a daylight sensor for this would be so fire, but obviously that didn't exist yet, and I didn't even think of it until I'm writing this script right now. The thing is, I realized the walls were so thin that I actually needed to be extremely careful of where I place and mine every block. At the end of the day, there was a sheep on a minecart track, so Ewan sent him off, and it looked like he was running. It was extremely funny, I'm not gonna lie. On day 34, we were officially over a third of the way completed. Because of the thin walls, I had to move the sleep chamber back by 1 block so I'd have enough space without having a hole in the wall near our stairs. Side note, the stone is like the ground, and Ewan wants to change it to green wool, but that requires cactus, which we don't actually have yet, so that was delayed. I could finally mine out the way I needed to go, and I was very scared because I thought I dug into the room where I like made the ladders to the very top, but luckily it was the cave where the zombies were before. I spent the rest of the day mining and crafting some pistons, then I designed a T flip-flop. If you don't know what that means, basically there's 2 outcomes, and every time you click a button, it switches between the 2. And since I'm doing something that makes the roof day or night, it was perfect for what I needed to do. On day 35, I continued making the T flip-flop and digging out further and further in that direction, and guess what? I could hear water from the water slide. It was genuinely so scary because every block I mined was 1 block closer to the water, absolutely destroying my redstone. Then I dug out some more and realized the balcony is right there. Like, I'm absolutely cramped for space, and the walls are the thinnest walls I've ever made in Minecraft. I placed 6 pistons and then realized in order to do a double piston extender, I couldn't do the middle one, so I settled on just making it 4 blocks. By the way, if it's not obvious, blue is day and then black wool is night. I clicked the button to test the T flip-flop, and in theory, it should light up the redstone, and that's exactly what it did. I then extended the redstone over so it would connect to the pistons. And boom, it worked perfectly as expected. I just needed to make it only 2 piston extenders. I basically flipped my design so it pushed 2 pistons pushing the blocks. As we went to bed, we could close our own doors because we had enough space now. Again, that didn't last long, but we used slabs and then it worked. Day 36, I started to flip my design again, and then I noticed, how did that skeleton shoot an arrow up here? What a weird occurrence. I made the redstone very tight and close together, and I had to dig out more blocks when I could hear the water dangerously close. Luckily, I could connect it, but bro, this literally has the thinnest walls and thinnest roof. Like, if you mine 1 block, my whole design is cooked. But I finished my design and it worked like a charm. Even though it was a bit glitchy, it was still a good feeling to see it all get completed. To help Ewan, I mined some sand for him to turn into glass, and then it was time to show him my design. I clicked the button and it worked, and he was quite amused, and it felt quite fun to do. For the rest of the series, I would click it when it's night to make it night on the top, and then he would do it when it's morning. On day 37, I showed him the maintenance room, and it was so goofy looking at it again. Like, it's so squeezed in and very clunky, but extremely fun to look at. I showed him the grass block, and it gave me another good laugh, seeing how close everything was together. A creeper surprised me outside, and I decided to ambush him, but then this happened. What the?
Oh.
Like, bro, why did my bow do that? As I often do, I spent the rest of this day chopping the wonderful wood. At the very end of this day, I finally got to see what he was working on in the treasure room. He opened it up to a beautiful red carpet and a very smart design as the roof. There were a few treasures like different blocks, a pumpkin, iron wool, and spots for more to be added later. On day 38, there was another creeper attack, which was very intense, but luckily it somehow died. But then suddenly my own dog starts attacking me. What on earth just happened? That was so cursed seeing my own dog sitting down and attacking me. The reason that happened, by the way, is because it's coded that the dogs attack anything that hurts you. However, one of my arrows hurt myself, meaning the attacker was me. And because my dog wants to hurt the attacker, it started hurting me. I instantly sat averaged the dog back down and then admired the beautiful treasure room once more, including the glass roof, which I didn't notice before. Side note, I was still yapping about my furnace and crafting table, like, bro, give it up, you destroyed it. On day 39, we really wanted to try out an exploit that was still in the game at this point. Basically, the smooth stone block that is in the game nowadays was unattainable, however, you could get it through a piston contraption, so I wanted to test that out. I soon realized it wouldn't work without a sticky piston, and slime balls were absolutely hard to come by. Like, you would have to mine out a big area, and each chunk only has a 10% chance to be a slime chunk, which isn't fun. Anyway, I tried to combat it. You can see the smooth stone for a second, but because it doesn't have the sticky piston to push it back, it just doesn't work and stay like that. On day 40, I tried it some more, but I just gave up until we could find some slime balls. It's kind of funny because the basement's just a random machine that I can't even use. Also, it wasn't until day 40 that I discovered the mossy cobblestone and the saddle was still in the chest, so Ewan instantly went to grab the blocks for his build. We decided we wanted to do a solo project again where he would build a farm of some sort and I would build a pier. I didn't really have any direction, but I thought I may make a house for a fisherman to live in, which was connected to the pier. So that's what I did, and I started by making the base cobblestone. On day 41, I continued the build by using logs and making the fisherman's house 2 stories high. I was planning the second story to be the story where the pier comes out of. I made ladders up to the second story, and the main other thing I need is glass to complete the windows. I finished the wood and then put the smooth stone slabs on the roof. If you were confused before, like, the slabs are obtainable, but not the full block without the line in between. As we were finishing up, we noticed the very first hole we dug to get cobblestone tools, and something weird about this was there was actually zombies in there because we forgot to light it up. On day 42, I finished off the smooth stone slab roof, then I made a bed and a painting for the fisherman. I also made him doors so he could actually have a private place to himself where he can get sleep and relax. Then I started building the actual pier bed, and I also made some stairs up to the door on the first story. I added glass to all the gaps and then gave fisherman signs that read fisherman's house, so that is now the official name of it. Day 43, I continued the pier and added some torches to the side too. After this, I started adding the support beams, which I decided to use fences, which, by the way, once again, they are so expensive in this version. Now that I'm thinking of it, maybe they're not that expensive, but to me, they're expensive. Another problem with the beams is you can't place fences everywhere. You can only place it with a block below it, meaning I had to go from the bottom all the way up. I continued this until the sun set and Ewan came back using his lovely train track. Day 44, I finished the support beams, so my solo project was done in only a few days, which felt great. Ewan was basically done, so we decided to show off our builds to each other, and it's kind of like a tradition now every time we do a new build. He showed me that he made a farm with wheat seeds and some sugarcane as well, which was growing quite nicely if I do say so myself. He explained that the sugarcane can't actually grow on sand and wheat gives you very little seeds back. He then made a scarecrow, but by using blocks and destroying them, he accidentally made a blaze, which looked very funny. We added some chests on the side, then put some of his crops in it. I then showed him fisherman's house and we decided to go for a fish, where I actually ended up getting our first ever fish. At this time, I checked the achievements and realized a lot of them were undone, but we could get the achievement about cooking a fish. On day 45, I got the fish achievement and then we had a feast together, and because I had no animation, it just disappears. I mined wood during this day, but then I found my water side is basically a mob farm. Like, there were so many squids. Maybe we are somehow freeing the squids to the ocean, except we destroy them by accident when trying to put them towards the skeleton farm. Day 46 was the day we were going to go to the Nether, so I crafted the flint and steel. The interesting thing about this is that flint and steel has to be a specific order when crafting it, unlike now where you can just do iron and flint wherever. I placed the obsidian, then we had some slabs placed, and we got prepared to head to the Nether. We entered the portal, and not gonna lie, I was so scared. In the Nether, it was so dark, so we instantly went back to grab torches to make sure it was light. The main thing we wanted from the Nether is glowstone, as there's really not much else you can get from the Nether. When getting back into the Nether, we realized ghasts are the worst thing ever because arrows don't shoot far, and their fireballs are really bad and does so much damage. So once again, I headed back to the overworld to get food, but this was a long process. Eventually though, we found our way into the Nether, and I mined all the glowstone I could, trying to get a stack of glowstone blocks. Ewan actually started unaliving the zombie pigmen, and the funny thing is, they actually drop cooked pork chops. To be honest, if there's like an exploit to place water in the Nether or something, making a cooked pork chop farm might be a must do if we do another 100 days in this world. The last thing I did in this Nether was mine a few stacks of netherrack so I could use it in a future project. On day 47, we placed glowstone on our roof to make an actual light for our storage room. Because we had done a group convergence session where we both did something together, we decided it was time for another solo build. I actually love how we did that though, because it sort of means in these moments that we're actually getting double the amount of stuff done, and it's usually a surprise to see what the other person has done. Anyway, I was set on making a sky base for whatever reason. I decided I may as well do it over the ocean using some of the nether materials. I built up into the air and then started placing netherrack in a circle formation so I could make a sphere. While I was building it, I was thinking it could be a planet in the sky and maybe even have a Martian on it. I eventually stepped on the top of it after I grabbed some more resources. On day 48, I continued this plan and I actually ended up making a full mini sphere, which I thought was very cool. I dropped the water down so people can swim up, and then my next objective was to get the staircase from inside of the planet to the surface. So to do this, I went back to the base temporarily for some resources. However, before I could do that, I slept once again in this planet, which felt weird being away from the main base, at least at night, for this long. On day 49, I built the cobblestone staircase up to the surface where I decided to build a little house on top. However, it actually looked a bit weird, so I quickly destroyed it and remade it to my liking. When I say quickly, it actually took forever to mine those cobblestone stairs. After this, I started making the house, but you'll see I'm building out of slabs, and that's because I decided I may as well set all the planet on fire because of the netherrack, meaning it'll last there forever. The reason slabs are used is because it actually doesn't burn. I don't know if this is still a feature now, but I actually loved that was the case back then. While I was placing the slabs, I was thinking about how on day 50, I'm excited to make a cake that both me and Ewan can share. As I mentioned this to Ewan, he said we should add it to a treasure room, which I loved the idea of, so I was very, very excited. I built stairs going down like the Martian had just landed or something, I don't even know, but I'd started placing some fire around the planet, which, by the way, fire lasts forever, if that wasn't obvious already. I got on fire more than once, and for whatever reason, I didn't jump off, so I sort of just stood there not expecting to perish, and then I did, and I had to get my stuff back, which half of it burned, so that wasn't fun. I did finish the fire after getting all my stuff, though. It was now day 50, and we didn't even sleep. That's how long it took me to get my stuff, as well as some new armor and a bow. I looked at my newly made Martian base, which I decided to call it Martian's Den, and I couldn't help but think how cool it looked in the morning. The first plan of action was doing some tours. He showed me his skeleton farm, where they rose to the top so they could fall and give us some loot. Something funny though is they would try and shoot us mid-air, which they actually hit Ewan. Ewan added a loot area with the leftover mossy cobblestone, and it actually worked, which was fun to see for the first time. Like, we had an actual mob farm, which you could even see from Fisherman's window. After being shown his mob farm, we took a boat to Martian's Den, which he came up with the idea of making a boat elevator eventually. And of course, my boat broke. I took the slow water up, and then I gave him a tour, and we saw the crazy view, but I wanted to get a view from the very top where we could both see it at the same time. You could smell the smoke of the windows. Also, Ewan placed a sign to name it Martian's Den. And we stood on the stairs, and we were about to both look around, and then, nah, no way bro just punched me off. That's so sad. Luckily, he had a great view, so that's all that really matters, isn't it? After the viewing sessions, we were finally able to make the cake, which required things from Ewan's farm, including the wheat. I made the cake and actually got the achievement, but Ewan didn't get the achievement because you have to craft it. Maybe that's some karma for punching me off Martian's Den. Next to the newly placed glowstone, we placed the cake and then punch each other so we could have one slice each. It started to become night, but we wanted to make the day 50 sign before progressing to day 51. We built it out of netherrack and glowstone, which is something we thought would be nice to do, as we wanted each sign to somewhat be related to what we did around that time frame. Anyway, we spam crashed in front of the sign, and just like that, we were halfway there. On day 51, we spotted a dog and wanted to go turn for turn, so I went and unfortunately didn't get it, but Ewan got the dog, which we named Mediocre. Side note, what a godly spot Mediocre ended up. Like, that's just simply perfect. I fixed the machine downstairs so it was ready for when we did eventually get slime. I mentioned it, but the next few days' goal was to create a boat elevator into Martian's Den, so it'd be a lot easier to get up into it. To start, I mined a few sacks of sand so we could have glass be the block that you would have next to the boat elevator so you can see out and all of that good stuff. I smelted it up and then we were ready to begin. Day 52, it continued smelting, but we realized we have like no coal even after all that mining, so we decided to quickly go to the nether and grab some lava for us to use to smelt. While we're there, we decided to grab some soul sand just to have, then we grabbed lava, grabbed some more soul sand and headed back home. While home, we realized 2 dogs spawned in the treasure room and we claimed them, and they now live forever in the treasure room. We named these 2 Jim and Jim, spelled with a J and G-Y-M. While the stuff is still smelting, I waited at the skeleton farm to get some bones and arrows before I slept at the fisherman's house. Day 53, I AFK'd some more, then started crafting some signs for the boat elevator entrance. I started heading over there and I helped Ewan place the last few blocks of glass, then helped place the signs, which you didn't really need, but we decided to place anyway. Day 54, we're experimenting with how to place the water, and bro, when I tell you this was the most annoying process, this was seriously the most annoying process. To get water to not disappear and to be a source block, you need a block underneath it. Now for me, that was fine, like okay, you can just make the ocean look a bit goofy, but we slowly realized that for a boat to go up, every single block would have to be source blocks. We still didn't fully know that though, so I tested it by going up a few blocks with my boat, which it did start to go up, but it wasn't source blocks, so it didn't. Side note, yes, my boat broke. We built up with dirt blocks and then both slept in Martian's Den. On day 55, what we decided to do was go to the top and then place water and break dirt on the full layer, but it got so confusing even after just one layer. So soon we decided to go down one at a time and place it, which took forever, and I felt like we were about to drown every single time. We also had to place it on the side by clicking the glass in order to make the water source exactly where we wanted. After each time going up, I was so close to start to drown, and I was so scared each and every time. I started drowning, but what I realized is at some point I messed up the water source block, and now I didn't really have much of a way to realize which one specifically just yet. Day 56, we continued the same thing, and you guys have to realize it was late in real the time, and we were constantly doing this elevator, but I finally figured out where the non-source block was. And while I did this, Ewan actually had dug his full one, which was amazing. I soon had mine done too by digging from the bottom and placing the last few water source blocks. Day 57, we realized that if we were destroying the corners, the ones in between would auto become a water source block, because that's how Minecraft works, which was such great news for us. I made more buckets and continued another layer, and this was so much faster this time after we sort of knew what we were doing. I just went down with 5 buckets, and I could make it up because the water source blocks were there, so it was fast enough, which also meant it was working as intended, so that was a great sign. There was a moment where me and Ewan looked at each other and just realized if you just place and replace the water, you get all your breathing bubbles back. I finished off another corner. It was going according to plan, which was so good because we spent almost an hour so far doing this. On day 58, we finally had the water done, so I got some wood and made boats for us to test it. So we headed over and I watched Ewan rise up, and oh boy, when I got in there, it just floated and honestly felt so good to finally be done with this random project. And then I grabbed all my stuff that I stored before. We placed glowstone in Martian's den, and then I planned out an outer ring I wanted to do on the planet. I used soul sand to make the ring, and it started raining, and the amount of bliss I felt right here, like it was genuinely so relaxing. We also placed glowstone. Then as day 58 came to a close, I observed my build. On day 59, there was another creeper at the base, so I did what I did best at, and that's spamming arrows until I glitched the creeper somehow. I looked at the Martian's den, and I thought to myself that the outer ring may need some more glowstone, then it'd be fully complete. As I pondered this, a creeper blew up next to E1 where I found some coal and realized that random chicken we trapped was long gone, but the hole still existed as it had a torch in it. In the treasure room, I saw rain on the roof, and wow, that was so good to see, but E1 actually placed signs for Jim and Jim. For the rest of the day, we went to the Nether and mined glowstone, which I had enough to make a stack. On day 60, E1 opened the door while holding his boat, and then this happened where a boat spawned in on the fence and we couldn't get it out. We just decided it was a bird's nest and let it be. We also placed a second one, so now we have 2 bird's nests, which is honestly pretty cool in my opinion. I wanted to take the water slide to Martian's den, but of course it broke because I'm actually so cursed. Oh my goodness. First person to comment how many times I broke my boat in this video, I'll reply to your comment or something like that, I don't know. E1 swam swiftly by, and then I went up to the den. I gave soul sand an outline of glowstone on both the inner and the outer, and as a gift for E1 helping me, I gave him my glowstone. I took a glance at the glowstone ring, and I actually love how it ended up. It looks sick, especially in this framing from the minecart track. On the morning of day 61, we noticed that because of the redstone, every time you change it to day, the maintenance room trapdoor stays open. At this very moment, we closed it, but then we reopened it so the maintenance man can do his work whenever needed during the day, but for security, it's closed during night. On this day, we decided we wanted to find cactus as well as much clay as we can find. Of course, my boat broke, and E1 started going towards our 2-torch island. We almost instantly found some clay, which was great for E1's builds. We also almost instantly found some cactus in the distance, and that was perfect so E1 could add it to his farm, and we could also make green wool. Something I was dying at was there seemed to be a massive tree in the distance, which was absolutely hilarious. We mined the cactus, and it's such a big block when you mine it for some reason. We made a makeshift bunker and slept the night away. On day 62, we boated towards the big tree to take a look at what preposterousness had spawned in. Unfortunately, it was just sown in dirt, but we knew we needed to replace it with logs for the funnies. And just like that, there was an absolute behemoth of a tree there, as well as a coal recharge nearby, which we absolutely needed. I have to say, at this point, despite going mining many times, we had a lack of iron, which was so bad, but in our heads, we knew in the future we wanted to make rails to this place eventually. E1 found more clay, and he was as happy as an E1 could be, I'm not gonna lie. We headed back home, and the view from this angle hadn't really been seen before, so it looked amazing. Day 63, I mainly AFK the skeleton farm, but I was also fishing in random holes, and sometimes it was actually working, which was wonderful. I got up to like 4 fish while just chilling. It was actually so great. I also got some arrows and some bones, which I really needed. I watched E1 place his cactus, then E1 brought his skeleton friend home, but he accidentally brutally destroyed his friend. I checked out the side of the green wall as the glass in the sleep chamber before getting ready to show E1 my fishing strat. Day 64, I showed him a step-by-step tutorial of where exactly I have to go and how the fish flings over and collects. E1 told me he'd make a collection depot, which he did, and I was just over here thinking, yo, this world is so cool. Like, we were just playing OG Minecraft together, and it's so relaxing and fun for the both of us. I saw E1 do the shears strategy, and he's developed it to where he gets the sheep one hit, then hits it with the shears to ensure he gets it every single time. Even after stuffing one of them up, he got so much wool from only 3 sheep. At night, I looked at the completed sleep chamber. On day 65, my sound somehow reset, and I started to realize the nether portal was so loud at our base, and it needs to change, I'm not gonna lie. Getting resources on a world like this does take forever, and you have to do it often, so I spent the whole day getting wood, especially birch logs. This is because I was planning to make a build revolving around the topic birch versus oak. I don't really know why I wanted to build this, but that's what I planned to do. Day 66, I did the same thing, except I utilized bone meal for it. If the frame rate looks a bit weird here, I promise it's your eyes, and you should get your eyes checked. On day 67, I showed E1 all of my wood, and he joked about placing flint and steel, and I was actually going to ban him off the server if he did that. I started the build near the skeleton farm, and my idea was to make 2 big guys, one holding a sword and one holding a shield. Because there's only one type of wood planks, I was gonna have to use it for both of the 2 people, but give them some clothes wearing the individual planks. The first one I was building was gonna be someone with a sword, so I started building the base of it. On day 68, I continued the planks for this guy making some arms, and then I started the birch sword that I was set out to make for whatever reason. After I finished the birch sword, I started the head and I was thinking about adding a little face on them, but I didn't know how to just yet. Day 69 was the funny number day, and Ewan said he had surprised me, which had me very scared. Anyway, I added a smile as I said before, and then I started to add a birch log crown on this birch guy. After the crown, I added eyes to the birch guy, and by the way, what should their two names be, because I didn't name them. Also, it was only at this point that I found out there was actually spruce logs in the game, which I had no clue about, so maybe if we do a 200-day video, I will add a third guy. I added a chain or a necklace to this guy, and Ewan kept insisting on him giving me a surprise, and I kept procrastinating because I did not want a surprise. But unfortunately, he showed me, so I went into the painting, and I was extremely confused when there was fire and trees. It was kind of cool though, because there was grass in there, and that means the dirt near it had extended over to make this grass, if that makes any sense. The only problem was he thought today's number was the meaning of 420, not... yeah, okay, anyway. On day 70, I started building the oak guy, and I mainly focused on the shield. I hit this crazy clutch, but I'm not gonna lie, bro, I did not know how to do this, and I thought it was gonna look so bad. Literally all I did for the rest of the day was extend an arm from the shield, and that's it. Building somewhat large-scale projects takes quite a long time, which isn't the best thing when you only have 100 days. Day 71, I tried to make the oak guy look as he was sort of kneeling or falling, but I was failing drastically, and I realized I had no clue what on earth I was doing. By the end of a bunch of trial and error, I ended up on this. Like, look, bro, why are the legs so short? So I tried making it look like they were sitting, but it just looked like Christmas trees or something. Day 72, I continued it and fully realized how bad it looked, so I tried to do my best to fix it as much as I could, but honestly, I was so embarrassed with this build. Luckily, Ewan wouldn't look at it for the time being. After a few adjustments, it was slowly looking better, but it wasn't perfect just yet. Day 73 was focusing on destroying the face and then trying to recreate it as best as I could. Also, I realized the arms on my guy looked really bad, so I changed those too. To finish off the day, I made a bit of the head, then I realized the knees looked goofy, so I thought I'd change that soon. Day 74, I finished the arms and then started to redesign the legs, so it was in a bit of a different pose in hope that I could somewhat salvage the build. I looked up the oak guy for the first time and I actually thought it wasn't too bad, to be honest, especially seeing what it came from. The last thing I needed to do was add some drip to my guy, so I mined some more logs, then added a belt on him as well as a crown. Then I hit this crazy clutch living on 1 heart. Day 75, woohoo! We're gonna build a sign to celebrate as well as show each other what we have done. So first we looked up from Martian's den. It looks so odd, I'm not gonna lie, but that's the way I kind of like it in a word like this. Like, the scuffed builds are the best builds. I made a jump to the ring around the planet. I explained to him what was going on with the birch guy trying to attack the oak guy, but the oak guy has a shield. Side note, look how loose the oak belt looks. After this, Ewan took me over to what he was building, and I actually didn't really know what it was at all, so I was excited to see. As we arrived, it had a cool stone texture, but I found out you can actually ride your boat into it, which was so much fun. And yes, my boat broke. It was such cool scenery and took Ewan ages to mine out, so I really appreciated the effort he put in. After we got back to the main base, we made the Day 75 sign, which we made out of birch and oak wood to symbolize what we were doing at the time of Day 75. Night started to arrive, but we outlined the birch 7 with oak wood, and it was time to do the 5. But guess what we did? We accidentally made a 0, and I was so sad. Like, you can literally see both of our realizations. Hang on.
Touch books.
It's 75, not... We rebuilt a 5, but while doing so, we kept accidentally dropping each other off. It was so chaotic, but hooray, we could finally celebrate that we are 3/4 of the way to 100 days. It was actually day 76 now because it took a whole night to build, then rebuild the 75. Seeing Ewan do the sheep trick honestly never gets old. Like, just look how satisfying it is. The boat somehow became slanted, and I actually don't know how. Like, my guess is a mob fell on it, like a chicken maybe. I started gathering resources such as 8 pistons because I had decided on a new project that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a combination lock for a future piston door. Like, right now we don't have slime for sticky pistons, but making a combination lock was really just on my mind. Day 77, I headed over to meet Ewan, and I found exactly where I will make a little room, along with where I will make a combination lock. I started digging it out, and then I placed where I wanted my buttons. So I found out right here that you can't place buttons on the floor in this version, which makes sense, but it's still quite interesting to see. Day 78, we woke up and saw a sheep had wandered into the water and is now just chilling with us. Something funny about mining this area out was I found some coal and some iron, so the tools I used to mine could be replenished. I dug some more until I started placing some pistons where I wanted them to be. I think at this point I should tell you how the combination lock will actually work. So my idea is there'll be 2 buttons that you click and changes the block in front of you. Then once you've changed the 2 blocks to a specific order, it will open a door. I'll explain more about how I'll actually do it in a second, but right now I'm working on the button to change the block. I dug out some more, then changed the pistons a little bit to figure out exactly where I want it to be. Then I said hello to a new friend Pig and told Ewan I like the stone walls more than the gravel, but do let me know what you think looks better with these textures. On day 79, I was making maintenance room 2.0, which I actually called the guy who goes into that room maintenance Solutions Man Steve. When I said this, by the way, I didn't even think of the Minecraft character's name as Steve. Like, I just wanted to name the guy Steve. Anyway, I was working on one side of it where I started making a piston tape, basically just swapping all the blocks. After I placed the pistons, I tested it out and it actually worked, which was a brilliant start. After Ewan checked it out, he said the vault's full powers will be revealed in 200 days. That sounds so mysterious, but I think what he means is if we do another series on this world, then we will be able to add a lot more stuff down here. Anyway, I started copying the pistons and redstone to the other side so both piston tapes would be done. I tested them a bit and they both worked exactly how I wanted them to. Now it is time to make it connected to an output. I realized in order to do what I really wanted to do, I needed to move the redstone slightly. Also, in this very moment, I realized there was something very wrong. In a new version of Minecraft, this redstone signal wouldn't be able to go through this glowstone, and that was what I was relying on for this build. I was really upset because how was I supposed to do it now? Glowstone clearly isn't a transparent block, and I felt like all hope was lost, to be honest. But then Ewan suggested two things. He actually didn't know what my redstone was doing, but he knew my problem was that the glowstone wasn't transparent, so he suggested glass or stairs. Aha, now glass would be kind of bad because you would be able to see the block behind it, but stairs, if you face them backwards, that could work. So I replaced the glowstone with stairs, moved it around, and then accidentally broke something, but we fixed it. Ewan gave me a bread for a little break, and I swapped it for a fish. On day 80, I tried to see if the redstone would get through the stairs, and boom, it didn't. Exactly what I needed. If you haven't figured out by now, I'm trying to make the door open when both sides are not activated. I moved the redstone to downstairs so I could eventually connect it to a door. While down in the basement, I made an AND gate, but honestly, I was confused myself just a little bit. I knew what I was trying to do, but because I was trying to make it turn on when both were off, it was slightly different. While I was up with Ewan, I created a makeshift door with gravel just to test out what I needed to do. But then something extremely annoying happened. I realized the piston was constantly powered due to the redstone torch above. Oh my goodness, always something going wrong. I was panicking on what to do because frankly, we didn't have enough time to waste for this stuff because besides this problem, the combination lock would have been done. Luckily, what I did instead was make it one block higher, and besides some of my mistakes, it seems like it should work. Day 81, I started off by testing it, and yep, it worked as expected. I had to move the stair to the back for when my wanted block is in the correct position. I placed the redstone back where it goes, and it worked well. Also, we had two pigs and a creeper appear in the area down below. I got baited by the glowstone. I thought it didn't work for a second, but thankfully it worked as expected. I was looking at the AND gate, and in my head, it should work, so it was time to try it. Okay, it didn't work. Why does this always happen? I added another torch, but looking back, this probably wasn't the strat because I was doing it the incorrect way. Like when only one of them were correct, it would still work when I needed it to be only when both are correct. I did it inverse, so the only time the door was actually closed were when both are wrong. I continued testing different things and it didn't work when only one of them was correct now, and it was time to test it. Both worked. Boom, it worked. I was done. It was time to cover it with blocks and make sure it worked one last time. You know me, of course it worked. I say that, but it didn't work more than it did. On day 82, I checked out the surface for the first time in a few days, and then I showed Ewan the combination lock. I gave him a hint to the code, and the hint was day and night in that particular order, so if you've been paying attention to the rest of the days, you should know what the code is. As Ewan was clicking it, he tested a few different things, and he got to see all the blocks there was to offer, and boom, he solved it. The code was light blue on the left and black wool on the right to symbolize the sleep chamber where it swaps from blue to black for day and night. For the rest of the day, I showed him exactly how the redstone worked, and it seemed to make sense to him. While I was doing this, I was grinning a lot because I was so happy it worked, and it was solely based off the idea in my brain. I was just so happy it came to life, to be honest. Even this pig thought he could crack the code. Nah. On day 83, your vision suddenly got better after your eyes got checked out, and now you can't believe the beautiful FPS you're seeing. Anyway, on this day, we boated back, and because I didn't have a project right now, I honestly just did the chores around the house, like I checked the furnaces and put stuff away, all that good stuff. Day 84, we headed off to get some more coal and iron. We found that there were mushrooms in this cave, and it actually had spread during our time of playing. We only wanted coal and iron, like we did not care about diamonds, we just wanted heaps of coal and heaps of iron. We started walking, and yet again, I looked around for my crafting table and furnace from when I was making the water slide, like bro, I once again forgot I destroyed it. We continued mining coal and traveled further for the rest of the day, also finding pumpkin and just exploring away from our base for the first time in a while. Day 85, we continued our journey, opting to try and find clay whilst trying to find a suitable cave. We looked at the beautiful scenery, and this world had never looked better. More coal was found, but most importantly, we found snow, which was the first for us, and a new block on this version's limited block palette. Ewan said when there's snow, there should be spruce, but this wasn't the case, unfortunately, as I really wanted to get some spruce saplings to take back to our base. Ewan threw snowballs at me, and I was not having it. Nah, I'm joking. I was having so much fun, but I didn't want to whip out my full potential. We mined snow until we got a full stack of blocks each, which was going to be amazing by the time we got home. On day 86, we found a cave that looked really promising, as there was iron and coal on the entrance, so of course we had to go in. Okay, the cave was garbage. However, using the F3 glitch, Ewan was able to locate mobs, which meant a good cave was beneath our feet. We went down, and oh my goodness, it was coal galore, as well as Iron City. We were getting heaps of resources, and it was just what we needed to stash up for the remaining days we have on this server. We just kept mining, like I had almost 4 stacks, and we didn't even realize it was night, so in only one day, we got so many resources. As we were exploring more and more, we were very happy with what we had got, and I even found some diamonds just chilling in the cave. Then magic happened. Ewan yelled out that he had found a slime. Yes, a slime. He was actually being chased by two, one of which he unalived but didn't get a slime ball. And just remember, one slime ball is all we need for that smooth stone block glitch. Ewan had the slime chase him, and he wanted me to get the second one, so I did, but tragedy struck. We missed out on another slime ball, literally our only two slimes and nothing to show for it. I started to look around for mobs nearby, but there just wasn't any more slimes. I did some research, and that specific size of slime has a 25% chance of dropping a slime ball, so it is somewhat rare, but we had two chances and still didn't get it. It was now day 87, and despite the absolute heartbreak, we were still mining and getting all the resources we possibly could. Besides, if slime spawned here, that means somewhere here is slime chunks, right? We kept mining and mining, but without food, it was really hard to protect ourselves. I did the best I could by crafting new armor, but we had to come up with a plan fast. Here's the plan we came up with. We dig out where the slime was and make our way to the surface. I brought enough wood for us to craft ladders all the way up, so it'd work perfectly. When checking our surroundings, I actually found more diamonds, but to be honest, nothing interested us more than getting healthy and getting slime balls. So with our plan in place, we started digging out in hopes the slime would spawn. Luckily, slimes can spawn at any light level, but we had no clue which chunk the slime would spawn, so we just had to hope for the best. After mining a big hole, we managed to get quite a lot of resources as well as make a big space for possible slimes. On day 88, I crafted ladders and brought them all the way to the surface, which admittedly did take quite a long time. I finally got to the surface and even more coal was there, so I said to myself, I may as well get this so we would have a lot when we get back home. I made a little hut for where the ladder would lead to so no mobs could get down and Ewan could get up. I went to sleep in the middle of the cave, but we actually almost got to 0 hearts, especially Ewan, who I almost punched. To stop wasting time, I went to the surface in order to get as much food as I could to feed both of us and get us healthy. I cooked them up and got myself to full health, which felt good to finally be free. By the way, I absolutely sniped this creeper just for it to not give me any gunpowder, so that was very sad, and the gunpowder was going to become very useful quite soon. As Ewan came up, I went to check if a slime had spawned, and look at that. It had in the very corner. I hit it, and yep, no slime balls. I was fuming right now, and it really hurt, but at least when trying to find more, I stumbled across diamonds. That can always cheer someone up. But once again, there was just mean mobs and not slimes to get us that sacred slime ball. We went up again, but me and Ewan linked up by accident, and in this version, if two people or mobs do that, then it sends them to the top without touching anything. I wasn't touching my keyboard, I just did this. We decided to make a little spot for our beds 15 blocks up, which is the distance for mobs to spawn, and we're hoping during our sleep slimes would spawn. Shout out to Ewan for the banger floor decoration. Day 90, we checked for slime balls, but it did the glitch. However, we did get out of it this time, and no slime balls at all. This was super sad because the realization that we only had 10 days left kicked in, and we still had no slime balls to show for it, meaning no cool smooth stone blocks. To keep our spirits high, I made a bet against Ewan. First one to unalive a mob wins, so I went sprinting to the water and I actually got a squid, which makes me victorious. Looking back, probably not the best thing to do if you want your duo to not be upset, but who cares? I'm now a one-time mob hunt champion. For day 91, it was time to head back to our base, which was actually about 1,000 blocks away. It did feel crazy though that there was like less than 10 days on this server because the sadness once again started to kick in for both of us because we made so many memories on this amazing world together. We walked for a long time and seeing all the different terrain was really cool because we really didn't explore away from our base that much. Something great though was we found heaps of clay on the way back, which I'm sure Ewan absolutely loved. The sound when he picked it up was top 10 best sounds in this game, if I'm going to be honest with you. Soon enough, we kept venturing and found ourselves back at home sweet home, and you know I stopped to mine coal so we don't get absolutely cooked within only 9 days. We actually used the water slide to get back, which felt like a full circle moment. After depositing all of our newly gained resources, we realized how much we have, and I was so happy with it, even if it doesn't last forever. We didn't want to waste these last few days, so on day 92, we decided to make our little own projects. These would be the final things we do, and I knew his had something to do with the beach, but I didn't know what. As for me, I wanted to give Ewan a surprise that I'll explain soon, but first I had to light up the area outside the treasure room so it looked good at night. And yes, before you ask, I did try search for my crafting table even more. Before we slept, we made sure to see how cool it looks, even though torches don't light up much. On day 93, I began my project, and the surprise I had for Ewan was something to do with the TNT launcher. And no, I didn't want to blow up our base, don't even worry. My thought was that because there's no fireworks in this game, I should make my own, but then I realized we had like no TNT, so I'll use the TNT to launch it, but then I'll use falling gravel to travel. This once again would require some redstone, so it made me incredibly grateful that we did that final mining trip. I began building my design, and to be honest with you, I had no clue what I was doing. I knew the basic mathematics, like the gravel needed to drop about 38 ticks after the TNT was ignited, but besides that, I didn't even know where to start. Day 94, things were going very fast. I hadn't even built my design yet, and I was very scared it wouldn't be ready in time for the grand finale. With me only having 4 TNT, I needed to be very careful about how I used it. My first TNT was to test that TNT would explode in the water without exploding the blocks around it, which luckily it did, and it didn't break anything as expected. I started to make the repeaters, but I was stressing, like I did not know if I could do this in time. I built a bit more of it, and just like that, it was nighttime, and I had to sleep some more. Day 95 arrived, and I smelted cobblestone to replace the stone I was using for all of the repeaters. I placed all the repeaters meters I needed to where it was exactly 38 ticks. The real problem I had with this was there was no way of testing it without using one of the valuable and sacred TNT blocks. But without any choice, I used a second one and boom, it absolutely worked. And I was over the moon. You could see my happiness in these pickaxe swings. I spent the rest of the day building around it and I tried it one more time to see if it would work, but it didn't. Oh my goodness. Just like that, my hopes and dreams were taken away from me. I think I put the TNT in the wrong spot looking back, but there was no way of knowing in the moment. Day 96. Yep, I am so stuffed. I decided to go to a cave to try and get some creepers in order to get some more gunpowder. I also had the idea before going to bed trying to get some gunpowder as well. Here is where I made the biggest mistake of the whole world. I was trying to do too much because I was scared Ewan wouldn't like my surprise. In my head, I thought if one TNT worked with one gravel, then surely it could fling 3 gravel, and this happened. Yep, I was very heartbroken and devastated. My whole machine is gone and I really don't have that many days left. There was literally no time to mess about and be sad. I had to immediately start rebuilding it. I even added the lever to some wool to give it a unique design. I spent the rest of the day starting to rebuild and I actually ended up finishing it, which was so amazing, and the next day I could test it one last time. However, we did end up going to bed, meaning I couldn't get any gunpowder that night as it had somewhat spoiled the surprise if he sees me not going to bed. On day 97, just like that, I could test it, so I placed the TNT, flicked the lever, and then oh my goodness. Again, it happened again. I have even less time now and I have 0 blocks of TNT. You saw with this one though, it should have worked normally, but it was glitching. Now imagine that happened on the final attempt where I show Ewan. It literally was the same as my first attempt, but it just didn't work. So I needed an idea fast on how to get it to work. I slowly but surely rebuilt it until it was nighttime, and luckily Ewan was doing something, so I had a bit of time to get gunpowder. I found a creeper and boom, it exploded. Wow, I love my luck. Oh my. I luckily did start to get a bit of gunpowder, but I kept getting unlucky with the creepers blowing up or them just not giving it to me. It got to a point where I was about 2 HP and I had no choice but to go after creepers, and even after that, they gave me no new gunpowder. Unfortunately, it had taken too much time, so I had to sleep. It was day 98 now. The nerves were kicking in for how I was going to get this done on time. I still had to properly rebuild the redstone to the 38 ticks we needed, which I did get done. However, I came up with a plan this time. I would have one stream of water and push a block of TNT into the water and ignite it, so there would be no chance it would glitch out of the water. I went back to the cave in hopes I'd get more gunpowder, and I got so lucky with the creeper dropping 2. I now had 4 gunpowder, which was almost enough for 1 TNT, but I needed 2 TNT because I couldn't get to day 100 without properly testing it one last time. I built up the cobblestone for when Ewan comes, as I don't want him seeing it before he comes to watch. I tamed a dog to relieve some of my stress, and I simply named it day 98. The night quickly came, and that was perfect for me to try and get the 6 gunpowder I needed. I got some creepers, and I actually got up to 8, but my health was running out fast, and every mob started to chase me. I got a creeper, and it did give me 2 more gunpowder, but then I perished. I rushed back to grab my staff, put myself in a hole, and eventually made a run for it. It felt like day 1 again, trying to survive the mobs from the night, and I was rapidly getting hurt. Ewan gave me some food, and we got back to the home to rest up. I say rest up, but we actually didn't sleep at all. It was day 99. I was so excited to test mine after all of that work. However, so we could fit everything in, Ewan offered to show me his thing on the beach as it was all done, and I happily took that offer. I went to the beach to see an amazing path with cool beach umbrellas and an amazing view of Martian's den. But the best bit of it was the bakery he made, and he titled it Baker 1.7.3 Beach Bakery. And he wrote some funny signs referencing jokes we would say to each other throughout the series. There was a cool plant decoration with some chairs, and I was quite particularly hungry on this day, so he told me to look over at the tables. A minecart chest came flying out, and he gave me an amazing loot box which included references such as birch versus oak, and also had 2 cakes for me and Ewan to enjoy. It seriously was such a sweet project, and it was a good 100 days gift. But it was time for me to run back and test my gift, because if this didn't work, I was actually gonna cry because of the amazing gift I just saw. I placed the TNT where it needs to go, and I was actually so scared. I almost forgot to power the TNT, so I placed more redstone. It was nearly 2 AM in real life. Here goes nothing. I flicked the lever. Oh, yes. Oh my god, yes. Oh my goodness. You could hear it in my quiet 2 AM voice, but I was genuinely so happy. Like, it actually worked, and it was glitch proof just how I like it. We went to sleep, and I was so excited to show him on day 100. Also, do not worry, we have not forgotten about the day 100 sign. Day 100. We looked upon the beautiful morning sky for the final time and said goodbye to maintenance man Steve for the very last time. I nervously brought Ewan over to show him what I had made, and I set him on the tree. My heart was pounding, stunning because after all these memories, the builds, the grueling mining sessions, and the overall laughs, we were finally here at day 100. I needed this to work to capture the happiness that we both felt for this long period of time. After all the heartbreaks, trials, and tribulations, it was time to set the lever off and celebrate day 100. That's it.
Yeah.
Although that was it, I can't describe the amount of joy I felt in that moment. I was so tired and it all worked perfectly and I was just so happy. So with that stressfulness over, I showed Ewan day 98 the dog and we were ready to make that day 100 sign. Because we recently had gotten so much clay, we decided to use bricks for the day 100 sign and we built it in a place that we could always see from our base to remind us of what we had achieved. As the night hit, we headed back to the base and we admired the amazing view with the beautiful day 100 sign shining from afar. There was just one more thing we needed to do. We had slowly progressed our armor, but we had no diamond armor at all. We decided the best way to finish it off was to go upstairs and wear our newly crafted diamond boots. We took our final breaths of fresh air as the rain poured down, swapped it to night, and went to bed. And just like that, we had finished our 100-day journey. If you enjoyed, please do subscribe and comment if you want to see us play more on this world.